Hello, everyone. Blue Star Saber here with,
Mangareader.
and we're here to discuss My Hero Academia, but not one, not two, but three chapters.
Ooh.
Yeah, and if you can tell by my subtitle for it, Shinsoso comes through with Dark Shadow and Shinsho. I've just pretty much spoiled just every three chapter of what happens at least at some point in arguably you could say the cliffhangers at the very least, but yeah. So yeah, so spoilers if you looked at the review, but yeah.
Anime only fans, get out.
Oh boy, but yeah. But if you're searching My Hero Academia manga, let's see, what the heck are you doing here? But yeah. Anyway,
You're just like listening to us talk.
yeah, pretty much. So yeah, so if you enjoy what we have to say, stick around, or just listen in the background while you're busy doing whatever house chores you got to do. But yeah. Anyway, we now give our opinion. We'll summarize and give our opinions of the chapters as they go by. With the first one being chapter 380. Why I've said that Shinsoso comes through is actually called a scush, as it follows from last chapter with let's see the building. You have like UA falling down, and you have Gentle trying to stop it with his electricity quirk and all that stuff.
Yep.
Apparently, it's stretched to its limit, and not blaming and Gentle's not blaming love, but rather his own limitations and that stuff. Let's see, as love is
La Brava.
yeah, La Brava is trying to add a new program to help Gento get back up. Let's see, well, Gento is seeing a glimpse of the boy, thinking about how Midoriya has helped put his faith in him again and all that stuff. He doesn't mind that neither Midoriya nor the rest of the world will see the performance he's doing. So, in a sense, he's sort of getting the sort of sense of what a real hero should be. Let's see, but he feels like the only joiner's current, state is within his heart. But then he noticed that a bunch of UA students with cameras and them being pretty much the audience for him and all that stuff. With him telling them not to risk their lives and all that stuff and just get inside.
Yep.
Sorry, what?
Said ship.
Yeah, don't get inside the ship, yeah. With that one student realizing that this is supposed to be a villain in custody, and yet he's the one holding them up right now and all that stuff. Let's see. Now, as Gento tries to continue saying, are you not listening to me? But just get inside. But the student tells him to shut up and let him film, which it's like Gento's kind of shocked by the passion. Let's see. With the students, with sorting that they're doing their most important to also do their own sort of hero work, if you will, like when Japan, was falling to pieces. The entire nation put all the burden on Endeavor. Let's see. There's them talking about how they should have been documenting and curating the whole saga events that happened on, in the last war, if you will, and ensured that the heroes and the civilian and society, they were linked towards each other. So they're now going to film what's going on here to try and help reforge that link, if you will. And this is what the business, of course, does for heroics, if you will. With Jetso thinking back to they once sought to infiltrate, this education system and ruin it and all that stuff. Let's see. With the brother then commenting about how those kids are something special. Well, the students think that the fun has a mind of their own, but they can't control it. But it's realizing they've been hijacked. But let's see. But La Brava says that she's able, despite what's going on with UA building right now, she's able to probably hack into devices. With the police, All Might's police friend saying, or I think Taskabaki or something, saying, "What is she doing? They need to save Yue." Let's see. No, she says that. Let's see. She's just pretty much about done it. But let's see. But let's see. She's now doing a new task, which is let's see. Have the business course students or heroes, if you will, to keep filling. Let's see. As she thinks to herself about how Gentle doing all this trouble and nobody's seeing him. But even though she made peace, even though he might have made peace with that, but she's like, nah. The public's got to know. So yeah, she's gonna make sure the whole public sees Gentle's actions, as well as possibly all the heroes as well. I have to admit, this is quite the interesting character moment for Gentle, wouldn't you say, Mangareader?
Him changing perspective on being a actual person instead of someone that's seeking. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty much the definition of character development.
Yeah, I bet Lucky Chi would have loved pouring his thoughts on this chapter here, but yeah. But I do like how Gentle, while maybe somewhat well-intentioned, let's see before, but a bit of an ego of having his spotlight, film the spotlights is like, okay, at this point, let's say I want to be a true hero, and it doesn't matter if the world sees me or not. But yeah. And I do like how you've got the film students' reasoning of like why they're filming this and all that stuff, despite his protests, because it's like, given what happened with the whole incident with the Paramount War and all that stuff, the heroes were completely had no way of telling their side of the society when the villains got to the public first with like Darby's confession and all that stuff. As a result, let's see, Hero Society, and particularly Endeavor, of course, got blamed for everything. Even though, which, on one hand, you could probably have blamed Endeavor for Darby, of course, because, well, that was his fault, really, or most of his fault, right, you could say.
I mean, it was his son, but he thought he was dead, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so there's some things about, let's see, Endeavor you could say was like the trigger to the rise of Darby, but you could argue it's All for One and Darby himself led to the path that continued it and all that stuff. But yeah.
Yep.
But at the moment, but given what happened with society at the time and all the damage and devastation, let's see, heroes got blamed and they can, speak out with like what they have. But this time, the hero students are making sure that they'll get the hero side in this conflict in the final war, and that they can help try and regain the public's trust again. I do like how Gentle is just like compliments about how with such wonderful students like these, how could he was a fool to try and sabotage them in the first place. And but I do like how the brother's like, you know what? Now I'm going to let the whole public see Gentle's actions, but it's not out of just let's see, like for selfish reasons. She does feel like the world's got to try and see not only Gentle's heroic side, but perhaps the rest of the heroes as well and all that stuff. So I just like how she's able to probably streamline and all that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised that after this war is over and the public have arguably seen Gentle's heroic actions, there might be a call for him to,
reform.
To let him become a hero or something like that. But I do also kind of like one thing I also forgot to mention. I do kind of like how Gentle admits that he's at a limit to how much he's able to pull off without Labrava reprogramming the building and all that stuff. So, yeah.
Well, every quirk has a limit, so.
Yeah.
With the only exception so far being All for One.
Yeah, there's not a limited number how many quirks you can steal.
The only so-called limit so far has been not having your body be trained to use the quirk itself.
Oh yeah, that's like certain quirks are just not suited for just his type of stealing ability.
Well, no, we had Shigaraki, and this would be for the anime-only people that would know this, or, well, not anime, well, everyone would know this by now, but yeah, we just had Shigaraki in that fight with Deku not be trained properly on how to use all for one, all for one, so he was, even with his regeneration, he wasn't healing as fast as he could have been.
Well, I suppose you could say that, but I think let's say like All for One said, like Best Genius's quirk would kind of be useless to like use unless he was like properly trained in it. So yeah, as that's one that let's see, but yeah, anyway, as the UA building is back to stable flying a bit and all that stuff. We see the army of the Toga Twices, climbing on like some sort of extension cables, with Twice saying how Toga Twice saying every hero must die and all that stuff. And then of course you got Kurogiri, or what is Aizawa's friend's name again? I forgot.
Pretty sure they say it in that chapter.
Oh yeah, Shinsei or something. No, let's see. Never mind. But yeah, Kurogiri's pretty much teleporting, saying he's a protector, as Aizawa is falling down, and President Mike's trying to reach for him and all that stuff. And the copycat hero, Momonoa, is screaming. No, wait, is it him screaming? No, or was that Denki?
It could be Denki.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not looking at it, but I think whoever, obviously it's someone. It's one of the students for sure, because it says Sensei. So
yeah. So no. As like as I believe President Mike and Aizawa are being sucked up with the Kurogiri hole, meaning that they're gone. Now as one of them comments that Kurogiri saved their teachers. Now the leader of the Wild World Pussycat is trying to think logically. Is he just trying to remove in a strategic thing Aizawa because his erasure ability from the playing field, as that would probably help Shigaraki more than anything. Though at the moment, she says regardless, they're going to have faith with the fight that's going on and hope that the heroes prevail and all that stuff, with particularly Midoriya. And it looks like the business course heroes are recording the fight between Shigaraki and Midoriya, so that fight is probably being shown to the entire public, so that'll be interesting to see. So Aizawa's in a new battlefield with President Mike. It's kind of interesting because it seems President Mike is going to be fighting two different heroes. I mean, two different villains this arc, more than I'd say probably most other heroes. Okay, granted, Endeavor's has fought both All for One and now is fighting Darby, but yeah. And I guess you could say Midoriya fought Toga for a bit before going up against Shigaraki, but still.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Yeah. So so it's kind of funny because most of the villains most of the heroes are only fighting just one particular opponent and not multiple, like you would have seen in maybe Naruto, Bleach, or Fairy Tales wars and all that stuff. But here it's you got two. But yeah, but it seems like a new matchup is going to begin between Kurogiri with Aizawa and President Mike, and it probably makes sense to have these two kind of fight because of the personal connections and all that stuff.
If they're even gonna fight.
Yeah, if there is going to be a fight, or at least some sort of conflict between them, at least.
Maybe.
I mean, after all, you'd see most mangas do like to have the personal connections with their battles, but yeah.
Well, there is a connection there, but I'm just saying that we don't even know. There's a lot to speculate that it was just an actual save, but
Yeah, which is I do like how you have one student thinking, "Oh, he saved the teachers," but the heroes are thinking, "This seems more like a tactical, advantage." More,
Protection. Yeah.
yeah. So it'll probably be so in many ways, Koei's leaving it vague of which one it is, but whether or not we get the answers to will probably be in like perhaps in a couple of chapters or so, because Koei's been moving all around these different types of battles for this final war.
Yeah, quite a bit of movement.
In many ways, it's like let's see. I'm surprised with some places he's going to, and some places he's not. But yeah. But anyway, I do like how you got the UA student Ritzy recording Midoriya's fight against Shigaraki, who now will be fully Ritzy unleashed with all his quirks and all that stuff. So his decay and all for one and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got Midoriya having the fight of his life. So yeah. But anyway, we cut to like the the Endeavor All for One battleground, where All for One reveals that his original scheme was to have Toga. What was for him to become? Actually, to have Shigaraki become him in his entirety, melding the minds with Tomura to create a new entity altogether. Was never, in fact, Plan A. Though granted, he comments that Tomura's impulse for destruction eclipsed all his hopes. But but he thinks that is just a minor detail. And now he realizes that his own original body's role has been done and all that stuff. He now just needs to try and inject his quirk factor into Tomura. And hopefully that will apparently broaden his authority and put a lid on him, if you will, his words. And that will lead to the Demon Lord's completion, and that is what his tail is. As you kind of see all the Toga Twice villains fighting the heroes on the battleground below. I think you see one of the pussycats there, though. I could be wrong, but I think it might just be the way Koei's doing the inking. But it looks like the Earth-powered one looks like she has dark hair, though. I think that's supposed to. I think it might just be more of the shading of the inking and all that. Or that might be one of the Twices grabbing behind her or something. I don't know. Probably need more detail. But yeah. Hawks is determined to prevent All for One from reaching Shigaraki, saying that's not how, and this is how their tale goes. As he's thinking about how the future is on the line, but you see a brief scene of Tokoyami watching the fight, if you will, thinking how it's for the future generation's sake, and saying that none of it's for him to chew up and spit out and all that stuff. As you see, All for One dodging every swordsmanship and all that stuff, as he's just thinking about a future bright for everyone else, Hawks, of course. But All for One seems to say that the wind is blowing his way, as he ends up using some sort of quirk to twist and destroy what appears to be destroying Hawks, much to Tokoyami's shock. But then this very weird thing happens, and Hawks ends up being, as he's fading away, it looks like he's now drawn as a shoujo character, if you will. Is that that's how I can best describe it?
Bishonen.
You know, shoujo.
Yeah, I said, but a Bishonen.
But yeah, but a shoujo drawn in a shonen manga.
Yeah.
But you have Tokoyami doing probably the most funniest face reaction you've seen in My Hero. But yeah, it looks like something you'd probably find more in One Piece, really. It's like one of those, yeah,
Yeah.
like in One Piece, but it's like what moments. But yeah, but you get someone just to talk about how hasty she was and all that stuff. Let's see, as she's commenting about how her illusions for real, as we get none other than the Shusway student. Let's see, I'm trying to remember her name.
Cammy.
Oh yeah, Cammy. How can I forget that? She's got the most simplest names. But yeah, but Cameo live saying that is if I've been a scush later. And apparently, translation dot scoosh for the word scooshes apparently is a translation for a little bit, one or two, unvalid killed, three simping to have a hard crush on. Oh wait, actually, it's just well, you've got a bit of numbers from like what she's saying, but if she'd been a scoosh later, you would have unavowed that certified hottie I'm simping for. Not very fetch of you who know cap, and the translations are a scush is a little bit late. Let's see, two, unalived is killed, of course. Three is simping to have a hard crush on someone. Well, simping is to have a hard crush on someone. Four, fetch cool, it's the awesome probably. And number five, no cap means a distinct lack of a hat. Who knows, honestly. But I don't know, it's just like, I don't know, I'm just reading what the Fizz manga is translated to what Kami's saying. Which is kind of funny because I think this is the first time I've seen a Viz translation do those little dot things about what the phrase the character is saying here and all that stuff.
It's all internet slang.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like normally I just don't really see that with like an ongoing, let's see, with like Viz manga for any type of dialect of slang and all that stuff. Even though that might have been useful to get the whole Japanese cultural thing. But they've done it for this chapter apparently, so yeah, give them credits for that. But
yeah,
anyway,
that ain't none of that's Japanese though. I mean, all that.
yeah, so
I mean,
okay, so yeah, they won't do it for like the Japanese puns and all that stuff, but they will do it for like the standard internet simping.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you mocking me?
Yes, I am.
I guess at least you're honest.
Yes, I am. Learn the internet ways, Blue. Learn them. Become one with them.
The internet changes every 10 years. It's hard to keep up. But yeah.
Man, you're generous.
But anyway,
new memes come out every day, man.
Oh yeah, it's true.
It's like once every month. Once an old meme is gone, after a month, a new one shows up. 10 years? Dang, you generous.
All right, fine. But anyway, but then we also see Hawks being saved by a bunch of body parts, I can assume, and it's none other than Seiji Shinsoso and all that stuff. As he reveals that, let's see, as they were busy doing like refugee crisis to get people from UA and all that stuff, and they were like in a non-aggressive defense force. However, given the fact that the refugees have arrived to their destination, and since they deduced what was going to happen with the dangers and all that stuff, with the villains and all that stuff, they figured it was time for like the assembled Shizuku High Students Course to assist in the battle. As not only do we see Seiji Katsuka and Kami, but we also see none other than Inashia Yoroshi and all that stuff.
Yes.
Let's see, as he is helping Kami ride on a giant created finger, and you see, let's see, Inashia Yoroshi using his wind quirk to blow away all the togas, as he shouts how, listen up, pal, I'm the guy who decides which way the wind blows, to like, all for one, ending the chapter.
Oh, wow, we're still on one. Yeah, I knew the whole time, but we were still on 380. Dang, man.
Well, to be fair, we're much faster than what we normally like for one chapter. I mean, we did discuss one chapter for like an hour at one point, but yeah. But anyway, but
Almost a half hour in, yeah.
But anyway, I do like how you got All for One just talking about how his plan was to like, have let's see, Shigaraki becoming an entity in his entirety and all that stuff, but and have the minds meld. But Tomura's destructive behavior just didn't really mesh well with it and all that stuff. So now he has to take matters into his own hands and go to him directly and plant his conscience and all that stuff. So yeah. So it just goes to show that even All for One's plans don't always go the way he intends them to. Which I think is probably for the best. To show that he's not always, that even the master planner, not everything works out his way and all that stuff. But yeah.
If that's his only L for that, that's the greatest of L's, but whatever.
But yeah. But of course, Hawks is not letting him, just do that and all that stuff and continues that fight. I do like how he's trying to say, like, he's doing it for, the future generations, if you will. And I do like how you have, like, Tokoyami there. Which, like, and I also I do like Tokoyami's reactions, both when he thought that Hawks was dead and when he turned into a shoujo character. He was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is probably the funniest panel in the chapter. I mean, it's like, I don't think I've ever seen Koei do a shocked reaction like that before.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, in anime, you get shocked reaction all the time, but Koei has a sort of more distinct, just open wide mouth and just a little eyes opening a bit, just not like not like how Naruto does, like the with white eyes, with the disembowering, like whenever they react to something ridiculous, or I suppose One Piece going more like with the eyes more coming out and all that stuff. And well, it's hard to let's see, but yeah, but every anime has like their own unique style. But I do like it. I guess Koei's just trying something different here with Tokoyami and all that stuff. But yeah. Anyway, I'll admit, after I was not expecting, even though I must admit, I was not expecting the Shinketsu High students to actually become the reinforcements to this battlefield. Were you expecting them at some point in the fight in Mangareader, or?
I'll be honest, I forgot about them.
Oh, ouch. Well, to be fair, they only really like major for like two hero courses. I mean, two My Hero Academia arcs. One is like the hero license exam, and the other was like the remedy course. But yeah. Though, granted, the only one that's not here amongst them is that hairy dude, Nagamasha Moria, who is like the class representative for the second year students. Though it is interesting that Seiji Shisakurako is here because, well, he technically doesn't have a hero license, if I recall.
Maybe they gave it to him.
Possibly, I guess I figured, you know what, we got so many heroes quitting and all that stuff. We gotta get as many as we can that's still willing to fight and all that stuff. So
I was gonna say, weren't the other, like the Quake guy that we had saw at the start of the hero, he wasn't licensed either originally.
The Quake guy did actually get his hero license.
Oh, did he? I thought Deku beat him in to get to the round 2.
No, he was in round. He was in like the round 2 as well, and he got saved by Midoriya when Grand and Orca attacked.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But yeah, let's see. But again, I suppose let's see. It shouldn't be surprising with the whole. Oh, let's see. We got an explanation of like the backup of the refugees things from UA because let's see. There was some talks about how Shishiei was connected to the and UA was connected with the whole shelter thing and all that stuff. So yeah, I suppose them helping with refugees makes sense. But I do like their logic of like, okay, we've got the civilians out of the way. We can come in as main reinforcements to help fight. And I do like how you have, I believe it's Inanashi Yoshua, who I think is also, whose hero name is, of course, Gale Force. It's just like using All for One's words about, the wind's in my favor. It's now like, I'm the one who controls the wind and all that stuff. And in many ways, he's kind of like the perfect hero to back up against the twice Toga because his wind ability is just blowing them all away and all that stuff. So yeah.
Right.
But see, when you're dealing with like a large army, you need a sort of like hero that can like combat that kind of situation. So yeah. So I'm looking to. So go on.
I said I agree. Right.
Yeah. Let's see. The only thing that I can probably nitpick is perhaps maybe the pose Koei has Kami in and all that stuff. I'm not going to go into details, but yeah.
Sucks for you.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. But, I'm not going to go. No, I'm not going to go there. But overall, I'd say this is probably.
I already know. So yeah.
Okay. But anyway, overall, I think I will give this chapter sort of like a 8 out of 10 and all that stuff. I think it's a fine chapter, moving away from like the gentle with Tio's character moment to like Hawks versus All for One to like the Shusugara High students arriving as backup and all that stuff.
Right.
So, how would you score it?
What are we at? We're already half hour and we got 2 more to go. Dang it. Okay, long story short then on this one. I don't really know if there's any real negatives, but I don't even know what to nitpick at this point. I mean, I don't really give crap about poses. I mean, that's just how she is. That's her quirk anyway. But I don't know. Positives, obviously, we got more inclination as to what All for One schemes were. I don't know, 8.5.
Fair enough. So anyway, now that that's done with, we can now probably move on to like the next chapter, which is 381, Dark. So you get a sort of like the chapter begins with sort of like a name of instruction to like each of the 3 heroes that has arrived as backup and what they do and all that stuff. Let's see.
Yeah.
With Kemi asking if that's like let's see if that the enemy they're fighting is All for One. Given the fact that until they have is that he didn't have a face and all that stuff. And with Seiji saying how he'd like nothing more than to kill him to avenge his father, but says the last. But I think it's either Inasha saying how they can't give into spite and hatred, and because that'll be giving the vague bad what he wants. Let's see. With I think Seiji saying that indeed as a prison guard, his dad set out to protect, and he shall take up his mantle and all that stuff. So yeah, let's see. With all that stuff, let's see. As the heroes are now being informed that apparently Shigaraki and Deku have left the cage, and let's see. They apparently and I think this is where we actually now see the hairy hero from like the one member of the Shushu students that's also here as well. You can just kind of see him in that panel. Something how they've got like aluminium students here as well, as you've got like I think more of like the students from that type of school coming here, and they're like saying how whatever it takes, they're going to put a lid to all this chaos. And you, as the reinforcements are arriving towards the earthquake member of the Wild World Pussycats, and I'm not going to try and find the names because it's just too much effort for me at this point. I'm being lazy, sorry. Anyway, you have Tokoyami still in his sort of shocked face, flying towards her and all that stuff. With like the heroes talking about how as the tide's turning and they're more, and thanks to gale force blowing them away, you have the heroes charging, talking about how before it's too late, they need to have Toga subdued and all that stuff. Let's see what they also, prevent All for One from every, and also deal with All for One with every arranged attack that they have got and all that stuff. As you can see, All for One being fired at by a bunch of the heroes and all that stuff. As someone communicates for Hawks to hang in there, and he comments about how it's Skiketsu. Let's see, thanking them about how the backup came in the nick of time. With how he reveals that that they were actually arriving before they even sent the request. Let's see. Anyway, there's the comments about how they know that All for One has his old body back, so they just ask him to keep him there at Gunga so they could as it could decide the entire battlefield of this whole war and all that stuff. So they tell him to try and stop him from getting away by any means necessary. And I think you see All for One crushing one of the Twice clones, I believe, in anger. As, let's see, All for One just comments about how he can only really steal a quirk by touching the true body. Let's see. As he comments about how initially we're mindful of the risk of having a company challenging him with a large force and all that stuff. But he's holding back no more, and but he realizes they're not holding back anymore, and they're using everything they can to take him down. And as a result, he decides that, all right, he'll go full force. Let's see, using his quirks to create a very big spear explosion, if you will. So I think, let's see, anyway, one thing I kind of like is how the Shusei students are just commenting on the situation, what intel they have about All for One. I do like how Senju brings up the fact that, yeah, All for One did kill his father, as we kind of saw that when Shigaraki invaded Tartarus. We saw I think we had one guy comment about his son, or at the very least, we knew what he looked like at the very least. So I do like that bit. What about you, Mangareader?
I mean, clearly that was for every fumble Koei sometimes has. He also has a lot of things planned out, and this was one of the better planned out. No, I shouldn't say better, but one of the ones where he clearly remembered he did something, so he probably had it in his notes.
Yeah, so I do kind of like it. Seems like a little small character arc where I think like his son is going to take up his mantle of being a security guard, if you will. So yeah, I mean it's like a minor character arc, I guess you could say, but heck, it's fine with it. But yeah,
right.
I do sort of like the art. I do like the sort of art panels of like just how chaotic the reinforcements arriving on the battlefield and just taking down all the Twice togas.
Right.
But yeah, and I do like how you got like Hawks communicating with like the main guys in command about the whole situation and all that stuff. But yeah, I do find it interesting how we do get a sort of we were talking earlier in the last chapter about some of the limits of like All for One might or not have, but it seems like if he's dealing with a copycat, he can't just copy the quirk. He needs to copy the original body. So he just cannot copy like
anything, a clone,
yeah. So so it's like a real limit on that, but it also gives him into thought about what the whole battlefield was going on, about how they only had like certain heroes like Endeavor who could do long range attacks on him, but now that it seems they're trying to launch everything they got him to take him down. He's willing to go all out now and all that stuff. So yeah,
right.
I even do like how he's using his quirks to create a very big explosion and all that stuff. And we see it having an effect of blowing away some of the heroes, including the number 7 Kamari Woods and that Mushroom Girl from Class B and all that stuff.
Koei sure likes drawing hair for some reason in those situations.
I suppose so. I guess maybe he has a mushroom fetish.
I don't know. Every time we've seen some hero get blown away, it's always her or in danger or anything. It's just been the mushroom person.
I don't know. Maybe he's like, you know what? Given the fact that maybe he's just sort of punishing her because, she's partly the reason why the second group in the Class 1A and Class 1B fight, let's see, Creaty's team, was defeated and all that stuff because they were winning until like the Mushroom Girl turned the tide of the battle. So now he's having every villain group beat her up and all that stuff.
Right.
I don't know. That might just be more of the cynical part of me thinking.
It could be.
But yeah, it's like you dared to beat Class 1A, so now you're gonna get your butt kicked every other time.
Yep.
I don't know, but yeah. But Hawks comments that All For One is using more combinations of quirks than ever before. Let's see, but you've got I think someone making a speech, maybe Hawks, about how the hero should stand on their feet and don't give it up now and all that stuff. Let's see, but saying how All For One's been stopped in his place, so keep up the attack.
Yeah.
Let's see. But during this, you also apparently see you cutting to I think the Derby versus Endeavor fight, and it seems like Derby is chasing Endeavor.
Yeah, that's about it.
No, granted, that actually might just be okay, yeah, you see him being chased by Derby, but I think you see All For One talking about how, do you really think that you heroes can still beat me in this game when the one hero that can actually stand up to him is gone dealing with his son?
Yep.
But he ends up mocking the heroes there, and you see all kinds of some of the young ones in the background, particularly like Jiro and Uraraka. As he just talks about how you lot were just lucky because you were not fighting. You had no idea what it was like in his prime and all that stuff. Let's see. Yeah, as he talks about how all those youngsters only saw the age of All Might's rise and not, let's see, the world where he reigns supreme and all that stuff.
Yep.
And talks about how they never got to witness that fear he inspired and all that stuff. And what he managed to do during his golden age. But he then gets attacked by Gale Force, who counters how they knew about that stuff. Let's see. Well, he goes on about how they never heard of him specifically, but they did teach that sort of junk about about what happened in the history classes and all that stuff. And he decides that he's going to keep watching his pal Todoroki and his dad, progress as heroes and root for them. Following their hot-blooded passion of theirs is going to beat the fear and win the day and all that stuff. And you kind of see Hawks noticing that as All For One is being surrounded by, I think, Seiji's body finger quirk thing. As All For One's commenting about the ranged attacks striking him. as he's all for one is considering trying to steal quite a few quirks as he extends his I suppose I'm not sure what the name of this quirk is, but you know that sort of like metal like extendable detachment spear thing he does.
Yeah.
He seems to be striking at a few heroes and all that stuff. Let's see, as someone is just telling Inash to keep blowing the winds and all that stuff, but yeah. He gets striked in the head. Let's see, with him just commenting about how his quirk is even stronger with his real quirk and all that, when there's real wind all about. As he tells them all for one that he can just forget about his ancient glory days. And what he wants to see is a future built by the guys he's cheering on. As Hawks is thinking back to thinking about how, let's see, while it's like thinking about how while One for All is a power that links people's hearts, he realizes it's just not one for all. He just thinks that Endeavor's also done his way of paying the way forward to unite all these connections. So he can't stand to look in the, let's see, I believe All for One's eyes. Let's see, and thinking about like the light that's still there from what I can tell from the dialogue. And he's gonna keep helping this like new light burn and all that stuff. But yeah, but All for One goes like, let's see, mocks him about how they dare not approach him as they risk losing their quirks to him and all that stuff, and tells them just to meet their fate. But he then gets surrounded by Dark Shadow and all that stuff. And he's a bit surprised by this as you see an angry Tokoyami face and all that stuff. And he realizes what the sensation was. Let's see. He's thinking about how it's attacking to dodge at all course and all that stuff. As Tokoyami says that even in darkness comes a range of shades. So he says you don't get to speak of the dark and all that stuff. And all about the muddy darkness he brought about. As he talks about how, as he gets a sort of flashback to like when like the civilians start to accept Deku and all that stuff, saying how they've already devoured it all whole and all that stuff. As you see Dark Shadow in his biggest form ever, about to chomp on All for One and all that stuff. As all these storm clouds shroud the light and all that stuff. Thinking about how his quirk is limited by the lighting and the darkness of the day and all that stuff. As he thinks like the current flames and windstorms have all sort of made the environment better. Not to mention the Wild Pussycat Earth Girl's use Earth ability. She sort of covered Tokoyami and all that stuff. As Tokoyami talks about how All Might told him that you cannot steal Endeavor's quirk simply by grasping his flames. And this is why he was chosen to support Hawks and Endeavor in this fight, as his Dark Shadow is like can also combat and let's see All for One in this range, as he uses a new move called Dark Shadow Total Release. As Hawks, I think either All for One's thinking about how he started preparing since the second Shinsoso showed up, as Hawks tells Tokoyami to crush, let's see, All for One. And Gale Force gives him a tailwind for a boost. And I think you have like Hawks just now coming towards Tokoyami to help him boost with his speed as well. And as they think about how even if they're able to path the way forward even a little bit, he thinks that even if dirtying his own wings was worth it, to just see the heroes fight, the new generation fight back, as All for One is then attacked by Dark Shadow with the new move called Abysmal Black Body, Light of Baldurn, which he seems to be punched by the massive shadow, ending the chapter. I will admit, this is probably the first time I've nearly just done the whole summary of the chapter before, let's see, just going through the thoughts of this chapter, I will admit. Except for that brief beginning at the end, so, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. Normally I just try to, I don't know, I just got into it and all that stuff, but yeah, I probably should have stopped at some point, but yeah. But anyway, on to our thoughts on the, like, what was left and all that stuff, so yeah. I do like how we still got a bit of a reminder that Endeavor is currently fighting Darby, and it seems like he's on the defensive at the moment, being, chased by him. Who really is going to look a lot like Ghost Rider.
Well, now he is, because he's basically fighting dead.
Yeah. I do like how you got like both All for One's speech about how you lot weren't dealing with me in my prime and all that stuff, so you didn't get to experience the full terror the pre-All Might era was and all that stuff. So yeah.
Right.
So, and I think I do like how during like the little ruined city thing, you see I think the 5th quirk user in it. I believe which I only just noticed looking back on all that stuff. So yeah. But I do like how Gale Force or aka Inuyasha is like, we know about your, let's see, glory days, a bit about history. Who cares? I do like how he's just like wanting to help pave the way for a new future that, like, let's see, the people he wants to believe in, which is like Todoroki and Endeavor. And it is interesting to see that one thing is that the fact that Inuyasha, who like was, once an Endeavor fan, lost faith after just him giving him the cold shoulder when he just won an autograph, but was willing to give him a new chance and all that stuff. Hasn't actually turned on Endeavor despite all of Darby's publicity and all that stuff. Wouldn't you say?
I'm trying to remember, because I thought when that chapter came out, I think he was one of the ones that defended it anyway, but I don't know. I mean, I think it's proof that he knew that Endeavor still had the ability to be a hero, so.
Yeah. No, that is interesting, though. In many ways, I do kind of wish that we had his reappearance sooner, just because I was curious to see what his reaction would have been to the whole Darby fiasco.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
But yeah, but it seems like he's not necessarily bothered by it, and he seems like, given what he's seen with Shoto and Endeavor, at the very least, that father-son bond and trying to repair it, he's still willing to support them and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So I like that bit, and but I think the main let's see, but I do like how All for One is just using every combination of quirk gears to try and attack and damage and steal as many quirks as he can and all that stuff. Though I do like how the heroes even despite putting All for One in the corner, he's still able to counter their defenses with like that spike quirk he has or something. Granted, for a second, I was wondering if he was about to steal some of their quirks, but I guess his actual hand needs to touch them, not like those black extended things. But at the very least, can still damage them and all that stuff.
I suppose that then kills the fact that they were worried about Shigaraki's hand extenders being able to cause erasure, so that may or may not put that in the hamper now. We'll see going forward.
But yeah. But anyway,
if that was just an oversight or whatnot, but yeah.
But other than that, I do like how Hawks feels like it's not just one for all that's connected to so many heroes. It's also the actions of other heroes like Endeavor and all that stuff, even if he doesn't realize it.
Right.
Though, granted, I'd still probably say Endeavor's still not the ideal role model for people to admire. So yeah, but yeah, I do like how these heroes are trying to help stoke the flames for the new generation at the very least. But anyway, but pretty much now we're gonna just get onto my thoughts on what I'd like to what was arguably the highlight of the chapter, which was of course Tokoyame's Dark Shadow. I must admit, I really like that sort of black eye look at what's he behind All for One. I suppose out of context you might think it's Kurogiri behind him, but no, it's Dark Shadow. Let's see, but yeah. Other than that, Mangareader, is it me or do you think All for One is getting younger by the minute of each of these new chapters?
Well, it was brought up, so
Yeah.
I guess that's how he's gonna die is rapid de-aging.
Yeah. But I do. Let's see. But speaking of back to Tokuyama, I do like this sort of angry panel of like his shadows and his with blending with his head and all that stuff.
Right.
And from the looks of things, I do like how it looks like. Let's see. He's able to shock All for One just a bit, but yeah. But other than that, I do kind of like how we got that little cute panel of like Tokoyami with his dark shadow when he was a kid. In ways, you could say he's always got like a little friend with him, even if he's just by himself.
Right.
But yeah, but what I really like is like that whole he's able to create a very giant version of his dark shadow, and I do like the explanations about how the changing terrain of Battlefield, and then of course using the Wild World Pussycat's Earthquake to hide in the shadows a bit, and the fact that he's been planning this since the arrival of like the rival schools backup and all that stuff. So yeah, that he's able to deliver probably his most powerful punch ever. So yeah, I quite like that bit.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I thought it was cool too.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So overall, I think I'll give it a sort of 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a pretty good chapter for like with like the ideals of All for One clashing with like the heroes and all that stuff about how this was my golden age, but there's like now we don't care about that, and now they're paving way for the future and all that stuff. So yeah.
Right.
I don't give a damn about what it was like in the past. So yeah, and also Tokoyami's abilities. But yeah. So anyway, I suppose what are your overall thoughts, Margarita? How would you give this chapter a rating? And what you like and dislike?
I'm going to speed it up as quick as possible again because
All right,
I don't want to be here all night. I'm just gonna give it like I don't know, 8.5, 9 out of 10. I mean, I guess it was a cool chapter. Seeing everyone do everything again. I mean, it's getting a little kind of like, oh, let's combine these attacks recently, and it's like, okay, that's cool. See where it goes. Obviously, we know since we'll be reviewing the next chapter, but we'll see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but fair enough. Anyway, but if that's all you have to say on it, we'll get to the last one, 382, and then we can be done with the stream.
Yes.
Let's see, but yeah. Which 382, don't let him go and all that stuff. As you have the thought as Hawks and Endeavor apparently in the narrations these two had a realization and all that stuff.
Yep.
And, let's see, is that the situation was not as disastrous or optimal as it could have been. As interesting enough, you have you see the Toga Twice is now starting to change into like some of the other League of Villains member, like All for One when he was wearing the helmet, Shigaraki and Darby and all that stuff. And interestingly, you see, while despite trying to do that, you see Tamura trying to use Shigaraki's abilities, but it has no effect, as more of the Toga Twices are being destroyed. Let's see, and you see, I believe, Froppy with Uraraka and Jiro saying how this, talk about why this may be wishful thinking on her part. The situation doesn't seem as bad as it can be. Let's see. Think about how Toga's first move, if her first move had been to, transform into All for One and Darby, then make doubles of them, they would have been, toast because she would also been copying their abilities and all that stuff. But not really how it's played out. Let's see, so it's like only the hope for victory is the reason behind all that stuff. As they know that from the original clones created by the original Twice's double quirk could use their own quirks. As you see Uraraka listening in on it while the battle goes on. But talks about how based on what they have learned from, Uraraka, when Himiko himself, transforms, she can only use that person's quirk if she loves them and all that stuff. So she talks about how Toga's quirk has some sort of compatibility factor, which seems like, implying that seems like Himiko's own, restrictions apply to the double she creates, after she transforms into Twice. So they have to assume that her love doesn't extend to, like, Shigaraki and the other members of the League of Villains. And that's why she can't use their quirks. Though she does admit that she may be off the mark, but in the sort of extreme situation like this, a single motion could, override, you see, a restriction like that at any second. So, as you get a close up of Uraraka's face, she says how it's imperative that they, track down the original Toga quickly and take her down on that stuff. Let's see. As Uraraka thinking, like, okay, how could that give her away for the original? As I think she flashes back to, like, that sort of smile she once saw Toga do. But yeah. So yeah, we got that. So yeah, the beginning of this chapter ends up asking a big question that we've probably been wondering about with the Toga Twice thing for a while, is why is she not transformed into the other members of the League of Villains sooner and use their destructive quirks? Because, well, let's face it, All for One, Shigaraki, and Darby, they're all destructive forces of nature.
Right.
And we finally get the answers why when we see her, trying to use Shigaraki's quirk and all that stuff. So, yeah, this confirms that. I do like Froppy's own analysis of the situation. She needs to love the person to use their quirk, which that was the case with Uraraka. But granted, given the last confrontation, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case now. I think she might now actually hate, Uraraka, but we'll have to wait and see. Granted, I doubt she's going to try and turn into Uraraka again anytime soon. But it could be wrong. But yeah.
Right.
And we also learned that, in many ways, you could imply with the whole Toga not loving Shigaraki thing, I think it might be a way of implying that Toga's not fully committed to the League of Villains things, and this could be like Uraraka's chance to try and save her and all that stuff. That's what I'm just guessing. But, of course, Froppy says, like, they still need to try and find her because, well, her emotions could change, and maybe even the fact of her quirk cannon during the midst of the battle. As we did see that a few times with the League of Villains battle against the Meta Liberation Army.
Yeah. I suppose we did.
So Koei is once again teasing that final Uraraka and Tropy conflict with the Toga here. But before we get into more discussions about that, you have her thinking like how let's see, like thinking back to what Darby said about Twice's keep the dead man's parade marching. You have Toga's probably inner thoughts, if you will. Let's see. Think about how all him must dies and all that stuff. Think about how she loves apparently. Surely she loves Toma and Toya and all that stuff. But let's see, unlike Jin and Ochiko, their quirks aren't really working for her. And even when she tested it before the big battle, nothing. Even though she loves them to bits, even though it should be love. Let's see. And even though Jin's quirk itself works for her, she can't think about how. She still can't think why she can't be fully like Jin, as you see her inner thoughts about all heroes must die. The words being repeated over and over again, and with like a small version of twice in the thing, it's like it's showing us sort of like she seems to be in a bit of a distance from him and all that stuff. Let's see, as it narrates to Uraraka about how she's always loved seeing people happy, as you know, from what we saw in some of Uraraka's flashbacks, about how she was looking at the smiles of people being saved rather than the actual hero work. So the narration says, of course, that she's able to zero in on the person's tears and all that stuff. As you see Uraraka fighting off some of the Twice clones and then realize that, like, okay, which Twice is the actual Toga as their eyes meet. So, yeah. So anyway, I do liking the sort of inner conflict within Toga because it's like she knows in her mind that that she does actually love the League of Villains members, not just Uraraka and Jin. But for some reason, she can't use their quirks and she can't use Jin's full power and all that stuff. So. But at the same time, as she's thinking it, she's on the mindset. She keeps thinking about the mindset of about how all heroes must die. So, Margarita, you there?
Yes, I'm here. What do you want me to do? Talk over you?
Oh, okay. I'll just quickly say, but I do like how she just seems to be reflecting on what is going on with her. But at the same time, that sort of heroes must die thought seems to be consuming her head and messing her up. But the point where she's in tears, which I do like how the chapter sort of builds up to like Uraraka's previous goals and motives about how she's able to notice people smiling and all that stuff. Let's see, as a result, she's able to deduce where the real Toga is and continue their bout, if you will. So yeah. What about you, Margarita? What do you like about these? What do you like or dislike about these panels?
I don't really know if there's much to dislike. I mean, that's like literally the one thing Koei's super good at, is freaking drawing these things. Can't really say there's that much. I mean, even if he wanted to claim that there's too much clutter going on, he still knows how to dictate what is and what isn't important.
Yeah, let's see. I admit, despite there being like ditty all these pages planted with detail, well, okay, granted that all heroes must die is more just a blank black page and all that stuff. But it's a sort of inner thoughts thing. But I do like the sort of 2-panel thing with like you have Uraraka just fighting the Twice. This is the main focal point, but you have like in the background all those other ones being blown away, and of course Dark Shadow punching all for one in the background. So yeah. Anyway, speaking of that, we get let's see, Hawk's telling Tokuyama to keep it up and all that stuff, and keep it up until All for One runs down the clock, if you will. But saying how while All for One might be invincible, he does not have time on his side and all that stuff. So and he keeps going on about how they do have Endeavor to thank for beating him once. So that's putting to him stop to him now and all that stuff. Let's see. As you see, I believe you have Jiro telling others to block the lights and all that stuff, and to back up Dark. Let's see, Tokuyama with this, with so Dark Shadow can get all more stronger. With let's see, with Kemi then realizing what Jiro's saying, asking if she used her quirk to help bind the darkness more. While you have other heroes, particularly Kami Woods, saying how they gotta stop Toga making more of herself. Let's see, with Gelwyn saying how he's here to support heroes from all the angles, but suddenly a huge kaboom happens, and a big explosion, if you will, and that blows all the heroes away, and even the giant Dark Shadow. But he says how they're all obnoxious as ever. Let's see, saying how they're all just nothing but a bunch of bruisers who can only use brute force against him. But as a result, and we see that he's even younger now. Let's see, possibly either as a young adult or as a teenager, probably. If I had to guess, maybe college student age. As Tokuyama just comments about how younger he is now. But he ends up being chased by, I believe, Gelwen. Let's see, where you have Tokuyama chasing him and Gelwen. Let's see. So they're trying to catch up with him and not let him get away. And apparently you then got written narration again saying about how the realization of these two men came to that situation was actually, then you see a giant panel, double page spread of Jigameki arrive and all that stuff. As you see All for One being chased by Dark Shadow, but you have All for One telling Makia to flatten them all, saying how as the narration continues about how the situation was actually perfectly optimal. Apparently that situation was, but Hawk says it's not quite the disaster it looks like, as he says, right, Tsukinachi and all that stuff. And instead of Gigamakia trying to crush, let's see, the heroes, he actually sends a giant boulder to try and flatten All for One. And he's just shocked by that, saying, wait, what's going on? Let's see, and realizes it might have been the pests on top of Gigamakia. As we see Red Riot, bloody and boozed, as he says Tokuyama, as he cries out to Tokuyama that they're here too. So they can't let that dude reach Midoriya and Shigaraki, and we see that it's none other than Shinso, and it's revealed that he's now taking control of Gigamakia, ending the chapter. Okay, I sort of let it go. Let's see, I've sort of done the narration in sort of like 2 or 3 parts still, but then again, I guess this is a very quick chapter. So, yeah.
Well, I owe Chi an apology.
What's that?
And we did our first stream where I had to get cut off from. It's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, Blue made the resolution to cut down on the chapter, basically rereading the chapter for everyone. Well, that's what you just did right there. You just reread the chapter.
All right. If you want, I'll just read the entire chapter, then give them my thoughts.
No, heck no. You don't even have to reread them. This is what. Have you ever listened to any other podcast before? No, I'm just kidding. I mean, yes, I do mean that, but.
All right. I guess I'll change the summary.
I'm gonna no. I'm no. I don't actually. I mean, yes, I'm making a mockery of your podcast, but I'm also just mad because we had to do 3 chapters.
All right. Clearly, I needed to work on my structuring. Fair enough. Good, Fritzy. Thank you.
You two are both completely over the top in how you prepare for these things. She goes overboard with pre-planning. You basically just go in and read everything.
All right, fine.
Everyone's just pissed off.
All right, fine.
With that being said, good job there.
Yeah, but yes, you've done your Steve impressions, so there we go.
Yep.
So yeah, clearly I need to work on it because I've clearly upset you. But all right, fine.
No, you're fine.
Right.
I had to get my Steve moment in there.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, but anyway, I do like how you just got the heroes just keep talking about how they just need to keep using Dark Shadow to just keep All for One down and all that stuff. I do like how
we're getting a little not you just the manga in general is getting way too repetitive now.
Okay, fine then. You give your thoughts instead of me first. How about that for change?
Oh, you want me to go first now just because I'm cutting you off? Now you know how it feels.
All right, fine, but yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right, but fine.
There's my other Steve moment for good old Steve. No, you can go ahead. I don't really care. I'm just saying that I mean you can start feeling a little repetitive on the not you. Like I said, it's not you. I'm saying the manga itself is getting repetitive.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I suppose it is getting a bit repetitive now with all the heroes just say, we've got to keep taking them down and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I do like...
this was the trump card. No, wait, this was the trump card.
Mm-hmm. I guess this is...
we had the third trump card.
Yeah. I guess this is what happens when you have so many heroes and so many characters.
It's not like there was that many characters. I mean, this one's bigger than... I mean, I don't know. It might be on par with Bleach in terms of how many characters it has. Mm-hmm. Bleach didn't go at this length, but,
Well, I'd say the difference with My Hero Academia fights and Bleach fights were more 1v1s that lasted like 6 chapters. While you got here in My Hero, you got everyone involved against one big bad and all that stuff.
I guess that's Koei's positive and negative. He tries to make the characters, even the ones that aren't really that important, kind of do important things.
But yeah.
So I can commend him for that, but there's a reason why secondary characters are secondary characters. They don't need to be in every aspect.
Yeah, not to mention, it does kind of stretch out the fights a bit.
And even still, his fights aren't particular. They're long, but they're long for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
In Bleach, at least when it's 1v1 and it's 7 to 8 chapters or longer, it's it's stuff that we'd want to maybe see animated. I don't know if I need to see literally every aspect of this animated going forward. Although it would be cool, I'll admit. I mean, that's again a Koei thing. Mm-hmm. Also, it's really cool to, if you ever do it, and I'm sure you've done it before, where you go back and look at how someone started with their art versus where they are now.
Oh yeah, I definitely done that with Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach.
I was gonna say One Piece might be the one that drastically changed.
Yeah, I mean
Bleach was the biggest drastic change, but I mean in terms of how it started and where it's at right now, Oda definitely went from a guy that looked like he was just doing sketch arts to actually full-blown artist.
Yeah, too. Though I think some probably do miss how Oda used to draw female characters compared to what he does now.
But yeah, I guess he goes a little too and I know what you're talking about, but I'm just going to say that on the opposite spectrum, I think he tries to make the faces too cute. I think if he would have just, kept the regular eye style, it would have been fine without the blushing stuff that they typically put on nowadays. I like the older Robin than the newer Robin, just saying.
Fair enough.
I think Robin actually somehow now looks younger than when she was pre-time skip, which is weird if you think about it.
Other than that, I would probably like it if he didn't just do the sort of X-shaped thin waist thing, because...
I knew you were going there. I knew it. Dang you.
All right, fine.
It's not your. That's just you being you, and that's fine. Everyone doesn't have to have the same taste.
Yeah, sorry. Well, okay. It's like not. I don't necessarily mind it myself, but I guess okay. It's maybe sometimes it goes a bit too more on the fan service side, but I will admit I'm not sure if you've seen this, but I think there were some complaints in the live action. I think there was a tweet I saw about how the live action is going to be bad because the Nami waist isn't going to be accurate to the manga, when it's like no one's waist is going to be that accurate.
There's very, very, very few people that can pull that off.
Yes, that's true.
So, it does exist in the world, but again, yeah, I mean, comments are going to be comments. Some of them are legitimate criticisms. Other ones are obviously just troll posts. But,
and I do sometimes feel like people sometimes forget, even the animes sometimes censors the sort of, let's see, fan service.
Well, manga gets a little more away with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. I mean, Shonen Jump really can't do too much still, since it's, weekly. You can do it in like the actual volumes, you can get away with more. But in like the weekly, you have to keep it, or they probably censor it in the weekly compared to, again, the actual volumes. In the actual volumes, you can get away with a lot more stuff. In the weeklies, not so much, because again, it's supposed to be an age rating, and I know Shonen Jump is typically looser since it's a teen rating. At least in America, that's what it is. I don't know what the rating system in other countries are, so I'm not going to claim that I do that. Do know what that means. So, with that being said, I mean, obviously, our friend Koei here also does his own version because, again, this is Japan and fan service sells. So,
yeah,
shaking my head and shrugging.
Yes, fair enough. Anyway, moving on to the topic of fan service, which was probably unrelated really to this chapter, though. Let's see. That might.
It's not 100% true. There is some fan service in this chapter.
Yeah, I will admit. Let's see. I will admit, the week this chapter came out, I was thinking, is Japan on a fan service week? Because I noticed there was there was like a bath scene in Black Clover. So. Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah.
I thought you weren't allowed to read that.
Oh! I've been reading that one for ages. I just for life just never learned that I've been reading it. I've been keeping I was going to keep a secret for him until he comes back. But he's not coming back at this rate. So yeah.
Has anyone tried calling him at all?
I think Lucky Chi once did, but
tried calling him once. He's like, I don't even want to deal with these people anymore.
I mean, granted, I might have tried once, but yeah, I don't know, who knows, but yeah.
Maybe he's moved on with his life.
Possibly, but yeah, and we're all still here.
Yeah.
But anyway, but you pretty much have all the heroes trying to think of ways of trying to help Tokoyami. I do like how Jiro just tries to tell everyone to keep doing it. You have Kami trying her own quirk, and Gale Force trying to use his. But of course, all for one, the younger he gets, the more powerful he seems to be. So yeah, So he creates an even
that,
bigger explosion of light. Sorry,
I
what?
guess that would be fair. I mean, the younger you are, you're in your prime, so.
That is true. But yeah. So yeah, we see even younger version of him, which I have to admit, do you think this is a teenage version of himself or a young adult version of himself?
It's probably got to be a young adult, because teenager, he's probably going to lose power at that point.
Fair enough. So yeah, he'll probably be slightly weaker, but yeah.
At least he should be. Getting younger should not make. I mean, certain aspects of your life, sure, but if he gets to teenager and he's somehow all powerful, then that's actually kind of not good writing, because he should be, albeit that's when he was probably, that would be when he should have been training his quirk. So he shouldn't be as as masterful at that point. Even if he's got, like, the mind of whatever age he is, 100-something-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, again, he might have the experience in his mind, but his body shouldn't react to it. He's physically 16 years old. Even if he's mentally 100-something, his body shouldn't physically be able to react just because of his memories.
So yeah, that is true.
Of course,
yeah. But
this is bringing up something completely. I said this is bringing up something completely different in my mind, but we're not going to cover that because it has nothing to do with what this is anyway.
Oh, fair enough. I suppose it's a conversation for another time, but yeah.
I was just going to say, it just involves Dragon Ball Super, and that's all I'm going to mention.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah. By the way, I guess to talk about the cliffhanger is as All for One's trying to flee, Itzy, Gigamachia arrives, and everyone thinks that. And I take it when you first saw that, did you think the heroes that were trying to prevent the villains from freeing him have failed, and he's here to back up, All for One, but instead he's actually against him?
I'll admit, I officially read the chapter just before this stream, so I already knew going in. Unfortunately, from most likely Chi, but someone on Twitter has been mentioned. Oh, Shinsui is convinced Gigamachia. I'm like, man.
So pretty much you got what
I already knew going in that it was basically a scapegoat, so to speak.
So
whatever that is.
In other words, you got the sort of Simpsons, the Simpsons in one of its classic episodes, Homer revealing who Darth Vader was to the people waiting in line for the cinema, pretty much.
Basically, yes.
Let's see. But yeah.
I wouldn't have really cared, but with all the plot twists that have been going on recently, like a sad repetitiveness, it was only a matter of time before we were going to get this full circle situation. Because if you remember Shunsui's debut, they talked about his quirk not being heroic, but it could have worked if he was able to infiltrate the villain community. Full circle, baby!
Yeah, Etsy, and he's taken control of arguably one of the most powerful villains ever, and is now using him to fight one of the other most powerful, arguably the most powerful villain in existence.
The most powerful servant versus the most powerful master.
Yeah. So, yeah. In many ways, to be fair, I did know that Koei said that he had something planned big for Shinsoso and all that stuff, but
so I can only hope this means that there's no more plot twists, because if Shinsoso gets taken out, we can just end it.
At this point, I don't think he has any more backups at this point. I don't.
Better not.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really top this. The only thing
I mean, you could basically be like, oh, Gigamachia breaks out of brain control from hearing what's his name's voice, but I don't know how you stop it past that. Oh, All Might takes eerie bullet or whatever comes and defeats both of them.
So, yes, the Return of All Might, but I think that would cause a bit of a stir within the fandom because the rules set by One for All and all that stuff.
Right.
But, yeah.
Well, he apparently had the flame for it still, so he still has something of it. And Ember, I have no idea. So.
But, yeah.
All for one for all, and all for one.
Yeah. The only other
in this case, one for one for all, has its own bullshit going on. If you take the dang movie that may or may not be canon into consideration.
I think all 3 movies of My Hero Academia are canon.
Yeah, they basically are, but I'm just saying, however you want to consider the canonicity of these movies. I know they're all written by Koei, but like I said, One for All has its own bullshit.
Fair enough, but yeah. So yeah. The only other kind of backup I can think that could see come for the heroes is like Stain appears, which, to be fair, might actually happen.
He's still at play. He's still at large, man.
Yeah, but from what we can tell from this chapter with Shinsoso at the end is that he somehow copied All for One's voice with his like glitzy hero gear, and as a result, Gigamakia thought it was either Shigaraki or All for One, responded and of course took control. Now, granted, from what we can tell, Red Riot has been bloodied, so there was some sort of fight there. Because it is interesting to think about, because when that fight to rescue Gigamakia was there, the villain that killed Midnight was there, and it looked like that was being set up for sort of Pinky versus Midnight's killer, if you will.
Well, we'll see if that eventually gets a. We're definitely going to get a flashback to how Gigamakia was somehow able to get here. So.
Yeah, so we're gonna. So at least we're gonna probably. My guess this next chapter will be some sort of flashback to explain what is going on.
My God, we have so many things to still take care of.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like I guess
he really is gonna push this to like 600 chapters. It feels like.
Yeah. The only question is if is Koei going to is Koei going to make the sort of Pinky fight against Midnight's killer as quick as the sort of like the girls fight against that giant villain from the Overhaul arc, which just end up being a way of just getting that big guy to merge with Overhaul later down the line instead of like a full-on fight. But yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting. But at the very least, but for the way Red Right's implied, he has been bloody. But who knows? It could be that Koei is just going to make that short to save panel time. But at this point, I am convinced that Koei is not going to end this manga on chapter 400. I could be wrong. I mean, there's still 18 chapters left. But sorry, go on.
Yeah, I know at 18 chapters, but you'd have to rush like hell to get to 18 to have this end in 18 chapters.
Yeah, not to mention the way that these chapters are also pretty short now these days.
Some of them are. Some have been 16, 17 pages. Others have been like 12. But I don't know. I mean, was it just mere speculation that My Hero was ending this year?
I think Koei said that it would be he intended to try and end it this year, but when mangakas say, "Oh, I want to end this year," it takes much longer.
I don't know. Yeah, or was it ending, or was it just that this was going to be the final arc or something like that? Is what was saying.
I think at the moment, Koei said he wants to wrap it up like this year or last year or even next year. So it might be a mix of final year and final arc, but who knows? I'm not really convinced that
Either of those things. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, either. Well, I was gonna say either, but this could still be the final arc. But this ending this year would. It's not out of the realm. We're only in March. We're only in like the second week.
Mm-hmm.
This could technically be ended before. This could end in the fall, but I don't know. That's assuming there's no breaks. That's assuming that he wraps up everything nicely. It doesn't just leave a loose end here or there.
That is true. So, yeah, and in many ways, I can also kind of see the appeal of ending My Hero next year, because that would be then the 10th anniversary of the manga serialization and all that stuff, and also the 10th anniversary of Naruto's end. But that was a dark day.
Yeah. Well. Oh shit! It has been 10 years. Damn. What the heck did I do for 10 years? I have no idea what to think about that right now. Not the 10-year thing, but where this is going, per se.
Fair enough.
Because we still have to do Uraraka and Toga. Still got to figure out the whole friendship between Obu, Shin, Kiriguri, and
Aizawa.
Mike and Aizawa, and then you need still need to figure out again Deku versus Shigaraki. Still, basically, somehow Todoroki's got to come back into play.
Oh yeah, and that's with like the whole Endeavor and Derby thing, and maybe we'll see Ayama with like that assassin now targeting him, but who knows? So
then you got to still figure out. You got to figure out where. I don't know. I don't know if you really need to know more about the Ayama thing, but maybe.
At the very least, I figured Kai is going to give it at least one chapter.
Probably.
Probably all it really needs. But I
curious. And then you still need to figure out the whole Bakugo thing. Is he going to help Shigaraki? Is there going to be something else that gets brought into play? Is this really all gentle criminals here for? Just to hold up until it gets down? Is he not going to join Deku in helping him out, or yada yada?
So yeah,
Shigaraki going to create clones, and everyone's going to fight that now. even though we're just clearly doing that right now with Toga.
Yeah.
There's so much that could happen. Or is Koei going to go the alien route and have something else entirely, like stop Shigaraki from the inside, and now we have to fight the moon?
Let's not go the whole Kaguya route.
I'm just saying. Man has more love for Naruto than even the wettest of Black Clover fans or haters think.
Well, to be fair, I think Black Clover fans are kind of a bit annoyed at Naruto fans recently, because one of the latest chapters. I
was going to say haters. I meant to say Black Clover haters. I meant to say haters. I'm sorry. Black Clover haters like to seem to think that Black Clover just copies everything that Naruto does.
Even though they completely forget that Naruto has been accused of copying Dragon Ball and Hunter x Hunter.
Hunter x Hunter is kind of... Even if it did, Hunter x Hunter is goes into so many hiatuses that I can't really even count it as a copycat at this point. That man somehow, I don't know how he wrote all of, at this rate, I don't know how he wrote all of Yu Yu Hakusho to start Hunter x Hunter. And then this happened. That man is like somehow like he must have like deathbed type illness.
He's saying he can only draw manga in a certain position, and he's changed it from weekly to I think bi-weekly or monthly or something.
Yeah. I'm more inclined to believe that Hunter x Hunter is never actually going to have an ending.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Exactly. But anyway, as for mimicking Dragon Ball, I mean, that's kind of every shonen's. Whether anyone, James, wants to admit it, Dragon Ball is the pinnacle of the shonen genre, or at least the modern day shonen genre.
Mm-hmm.
For better or worse. I mean, obviously, people do their own stuff, but they still mimic it in the sense where everything that sold with it ended up doing well for the most part. I think. Trying to think. I mean, Sailor Moon. Didn't Sailor Moon come out? I think it came out before Dragon Ball, and before that it was. Crap, what is it? I'm kind of a fan of it too. Shoot, Saint Seiya. That's what it is. Saint Seiya was even before Dragon Ball, but so you could argue again that the whole genre of shonen technically just gets inspiration from each other.
Yeah. I would probably say Sailor Moon came out in the 90s, I think, and Dragon Ball came out in the 80s. So, but yeah. But with that said, I think it's probably time we probably wrap up the stream and give the overall score for this chapter, which I'm inclined to give it, say, a sort of 8.5 to 9 out of 10. Mostly just for like the beginning of like just the stuff at the beginning where you have the whole setup for like Uraraka versus Toga. It seems like we're finally getting to that point where we see with Toga's mind just breaking down and Uraraka noticing her and is ready to fight her. And also Froppy's assessment on Toga, as well as the fact that All For One, while Younger's trying to escape, is attacked by Gigamakia with Shinsoso there to back him up and all that stuff. So so you've got like a new player into the fight and all that stuff. So so I presume it's pretty much a good chapter for like build up and all that stuff. So for 2 upcoming fights, but yeah, what about you, Mangareader?
For me, it's if you squint hard enough, you could maybe make it a 10, maybe. But I think you're pretty close there. I think a 9 probably is truly the best you would rate it if you're going on a 10 out of 10 scale. And I think a lot of it again has to do with, regardless of the repetitive nature I've just been discussing, it at least gives you a reason as to why the battle isn't exactly been as one-sided as it looks. It still gives you the belief that the heroes aren't completely overwhelmed, and it doesn't make the villains look like they're too overpowered. So,
which I do admit, it's a bit funny how you're saying that, because you've talked about how broken some of the quirks are for the last few streams.
I mean, I'm not saying that the quirks still aren't. I mean, the quirks are still busted, but at least it goes to show that All For One being being just bootleg Aizen at least feels better than just being actual Aizen somehow. Everything going according to plan.
Yeah, it's true.
Because again, this series, like I said, goes out of its way to at least be grounded. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, I guess from a enjoying it situation, I guess from an enjoyable situation, it's pretty enjoyable because even with how kind of insane the abilities are, they still have, most of them have limitations to them to like make it so they're not like, oh my gosh, they're just plowing through everything. With, again, Midoriya and Shigaraki, or All for One, One for All, the two Messiah level quirks, that's fine. They can be kind of busted, godly level type, whatever you want to make them out to be.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not like destroying planets, so it's like, okay, this is a fair, overpowered, but not super overpowered ability. On the other hand, you have superheroes. Your whole premises of this series is to essentially mimic Marvel and DC. Why can't there be like some really stupid type of ability that Shigaraki and Deku have that basically would make them planet busters if they really wanted to be? Oh, it's got to be grounded, so hooray! It gives you a better story, I guess, being grounded, meaning every character at least has some level of ability to beat said character regardless, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, 9's probably the correct answer here. Like I said, if you squint, maybe you could make it a 10 just because of, oh, hey, they used certain characters correctly. In this case, being Shinsui or Shusui or whatever his name is, and Toga's abilities and yada yada.
Fair enough. And with probably that said, we are probably now finished with the stream. Mangareader, thank you for joining me, even though it nearly took us 2 hours to do 3 chapters.
That's actually not that bad. I just wanted to be a little move faster.
Yeah. No. I think this stream has probably taught me that I still need to work on my reviewing patterns of this chapter. So I think we'll try that next time when we review the upcoming My Hero Academia chapters. So,
well, yeah. I'm sure that'll go fast anyway.
But, yeah.
Unless both you and me have our own little different ways of extending making time go faster or slower in this situation. But
yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, my flaw is I'm overly critical and maybe think too hard about certain things.
I go too into detail and summarizing. Yeah, I know.
And Chi's massive flaw is he overplans.
Yeah, and Steve getting angry.
Oh yeah, Steve's short, sweet, to the point, and come on, stop interrupting me.
Yes, and we're referencing a podcast that will probably come out a bit once Lucky Chi is edited. But for now, you'll just have to just hear the ramblings of Blue Star and Mangareader in My Hero Academia streams for the moment, folks. But anyway,
and the occasional Lucky Chi,
and even more rare cameo guest starring of Red Sea Steve. But for now, it's time for us to sign off. I hope you enjoy what you've heard from both of us so far, and thank you if you managed to listen to all the end. But for now, I am Blue Star Saber,
Mangareader.
and we are now signing off. Plus Ultra.
Plus Ultra, guys.
And with that, goodbye.